The night air felt heavier than usual. It pressed against my skin like damp cloth. The streetlights flickered, casting long, broken shadows across the empty road. Each step echoed louder than it should have. My breath sounded noisy in my own ears. A cold smell of rust and wet soil drifted from the alley ahead. I slowed down. My instincts screamed, but my feet kept moving. The silence suddenly broke. A sharp metallic clang rang out behind me. My heart slammed against my ribs. The sound vibrated through the ground, crawling up my legs. I turned slowly. The alley stood empty. Too empty. The walls on both sides felt closer now, as if they had shifted while I was not looking. A faint whisper brushed past my ear. It carried no words, only a warning buried inside the tone. My palms grew damp. The air tasted bitter, like burned wires. A dim shape moved at the far end of the alley. Not walking, sliding. The streetlight above it flickered once, then twice. In that brief light, I saw something bend the wrong way. My stomach tightened. A low hum filled the space, vibrating inside my skull. The ground felt uneven beneath my feet. Something warm trickled down my spine. I did not dare to wipe it away. The shape stopped moving. The humming stopped with it. For one terrifying second, everything stood still. Then a voice rose from the darkness. Not loud, not angry, calm, certain. It spoke my name. The sound froze the air around me. I had never told anyone I would be here tonight. My vision blurred at the edges. The walls seemed to breathe. The voice spoke again, closer this time. The words slid into my mind like cold knives. The next time will be worse than this. The words echoed inside my head long after the voice fell silent. My ears rang as if struck by an invisible bell. The alley seemed to stretch, growing longer with every breath I took. The streetlight behind me went out. Darkness swallowed the road I had come from. The only light left flickered ahead, weak and trembling. My chest tightened. The air felt thick, difficult to pull into my lungs. I forced myself to move forward. Each step felt borrowed, as if the ground did not belong to me anymore. The walls glistened with moisture, reflecting distorted shapes that shifted when I blinked. A faint scratching sound followed me. Slow, deliberate, like nails dragged gently across stone. My skin crawled. The smell changed. No longer rust and soil. Now it carried the sharp scent of decay. Something old. Something that should have stayed buried. I reached the place where the shape had stopped before. The ground there was darker. Wet. The streetlight above buzzed softly, struggling to stay alive. My shadow stretched unnaturally long in front of me. It moved when I did not. My heartbeat grew louder, pounding in my throat. A soft breath brushed against the back of my neck. Warm. Too close. I froze. The breath lingered, slow and patient. I felt watched from every direction. Not with eyes, with intent. The scratching sound circled me now. Left, right, behind, never staying in one place. The light flickered again. For a split second, the alley revealed more than it should have. Marks covered the walls. Deep grooves carved into the brick. Symbols twisted into shapes that made my head ache when I tried to understand them. My vision blurred as a pressure built behind my eyes. A dull ache pulsed through my temples. The light steadied. The marks vanished. I questioned my own senses. But the ache remained. A faint drip echoed nearby. Liquid hitting stone at a steady rhythm. Drip, drip, drip. Each sound landed heavier than the last. My legs trembled. The alley narrowed further ahead. The walls leaned inward, forcing me to turn sideways to pass. My shoulder brushed against cold brick. A sudden sting shot through my arm. I pulled away and saw a thin line of blood seeping through my sleeve. The wall felt alive beneath my fingers. Warm, slightly pulsing. I recoiled. The air vibrated again with that low hum. It crawled into my bones, rattling my teeth. The humming grew louder, then stopped abruptly. Silence crashed down, heavy and absolute. Even my breathing seemed too loud. Then footsteps echoed ahead. Slow, measured. Each step landed with intention. The sound did not match any human rhythm I knew. My mouth went dry. I tried to call out, but my voice refused to come. The footsteps stopped. Something shifted in the darkness. The light ahead dimmed, revealing a figure standing just beyond its reach. It stood too tall for the space. Its outline bent where it should not. Arms hung low, stretching almost to the ground. The head tilted at an unnatural angle. I could not see its face. The shadows clung to it like a second skin. A pressure settled on my chest, pinning me in place. The figure leaned forward slightly. The shadows peeled back just enough. I saw skin that looked stretched thin, pulled tight over something struggling beneath. Its mouth opened, too wide. Teeth glistened faintly in the dying light. The sound it made was not speech. Not quite. It vibrated through the air, carrying meaning without words. Images flooded my mind. Moments from my past twisted and distorted. Places I had forgotten. Faces I tried not to remember. Every mistake pressed against me at once. My knees buckled. The ground felt cold as I dropped to one knee. The figure took one step closer. The temperature dropped instantly. My breath fogged in front of my face. Pain flared behind my eyes again. The walls began to pulse, matching the rhythm of my heart. Thump, thump, thump. The figure raised one elongated hand. Its fingers bent backward, then snapped forward with a sickening crack. The sound echoed down the alley. I squeezed my eyes shut. A whisper brushed through my thoughts. Not a voice, a promise. This was only the beginning. The air shifted suddenly. A sharp scent of ozone filled my lungs. My vision flared white. The light above exploded, showering sparks that hissed as they hit the ground. In the sudden darkness, something moved fast. Too fast to follow. A rush of air knocked me backward. My head struck the ground hard. Stars burst across my vision. The alley spun. The humming returned, louder than before, drilling into my skull. I tried to crawl away. My hands scraped against rough stone. The scratching sound returned, now inches from my ear. A weight pressed down on my chest. Cold, unyielding. I struggled to breathe. The darkness leaned closer, wrapping around me. Then, from somewhere deep inside my mind, the words returned again. Clearer, colder. The next time will be worse than this. The pressure on my chest slowly faded. The darkness loosened its grip. Air rushed back into my lungs in sharp, painful breaths. The alley grew quiet once more. No footsteps. No humming. Only the distant sound of a city waking up. A faint glow appeared at the far end of the alley. Soft, natural, morning light. I lay still, afraid that movement might bring everything back. But nothing followed. The walls returned to cold brick. The ground felt solid beneath my hands. I pushed myself up slowly. My body trembled, yet it obeyed me. The alley looked ordinary now. Too ordinary, as if it had never held anything at all. I stepped into the street as the sun rose higher. Cars passed. People walked by. No one noticed me. No one sensed what had lingered there moments before. The world continued as if untouched. But I felt different. Something unseen had marked me. Not on my skin. Deeper. Inside my thoughts. I carried the warning with every step away from that place. Life returned to its routine. Days passed. Nights came and went. Yet sometimes, in the quiet hours, I still felt that familiar pressure in the air. A reminder. A promise waiting to be fulfilled. And I understood then. Some encounters never truly end. They simply wait.